And she goes to sit down like on this chair that has rolling wheels, and for some reason I don't know how to explain it. It was just like, there I am, and when she went to sit down, that baby just went flying out of it and right into my hands. Greatest catch of my life. Greatest catch of my life. Well, welcome back, everybody. Red B here, and thanks for joining. First off, it's a privilege and an honor to be here, be able to talk. Circumstances in my life have opened the door to be able to get more creative, and I'm very thankful for that. At the same time, it's a day at a time. We'll see where the Lord leads, and just super grateful to be here, be able to record a little bit and dive into some of the insights into these songs. So anyway, this is the fourth track, Hosanna, Waiga. And this is the fourth track for the album Home. And, this song came out just right out in the summer room there. And I remember it popped out. It was like, whoa, what was that? I just remember it was intense, and it was just like, man, where did that come from? And it was so fun to play, and still is. But I just remember just kind of being in awe. And I remember Mr. George stopped by, and I was like, hey, man, check the song out, man. A lot of times, writing, I'm off in my own little world, and I don't really get to see a whole lot of people, especially lately. And that was a cool thing. But anyway, first off, this song is, well, recording wise, I would say this song is probably one of my favorites, if not the favorite. Love and Light is a huge favorite of mine. We'll talk about that next week. But this one is definitely one of my favorites, and it's because of the players on there. So this is, I would say this song has the most musicians, artists from Fiverr than any song on this album. And that anytime there's some extra players or something, it makes it that much better for me, because you know the song as a songwriter, but when somebody adds something to it, you're just that much grateful, because you don't know. You take a risk every time you invite somebody into a song, and these guys came through in a big way. Recording wise, for that female vocal part, that was Victoria Sola, and she's from Nigeria, and she just out of every performance, I can't say. Let me just say this, man. She just blew me away with her performance and the recording. I can try and put a link in here for her, and if you ever need any singing like that, but she just went above and beyond, and did a phenomenal job of them female vocals. And to be honest, like I said before, you pay for, you only get 30 seconds. I'm pretty sure she did that second verse, and she just did it to do it. I was just going to copy and paste. So, Lord bless Victoria. What a generous soul. And to her recording crew there, they did a phenomenal job there in Nigeria, and her performance just amazing. So I hope I have her in the mix well. And to me, that's what brings a song alive is her vocals. And, it was hard to follow that up after having her in there. And then it just goes to me singing. It's like a drop of energy. But it does pick up. But anyway, Victoria just really phenomenal job in there. And then we have Yanni Segal. He is from Argentina, and he did the second guitar solo in there. Now, I did that first solo, and I'm real proud of that. I really enjoyed it. But I also did a second solo, but it almost sounded like the first one, and so I was like, man, I really enjoy getting into guitar solos. I don't know why. It's an expression for me, and maybe I usually don't get to express that side of me. And so anyway, I just started looking people up on the Fiverr for guitar solos, and this guy showed up, and I was like, man, I've got to have this guy on here. And he just nailed that solo. And actually his solo, he recorded it, and then somehow I put it just a little bit further in, because he started a little bit later than I would have wanted. And I'm not going to be picky with these guys, but I just put it in a little bit before, and it worked out. I couldn't believe it. So he may hear it and be like, whoa, what? I don't remember playing like that. But anyway, he did a phenomenal job, had some extra tracks in there, and just freaking a great, phenomenal solo. So to me, again, he just took it to a whole nother level on this song. The other recordings is a guy that goes by A Tune of Mind, and he is from Israel, and now he laid down the didgeridoo, and this is, to be honest, I had to have this didgeridoo on this album, and it was one of the first parts of the album where it was recorded before any song, I would say, before we even started any song in the album. For some reason, I had to have something like going back home to the basics, like what's the word? Something hearty that takes you back to your roots. And Tune of Mind just did a phenomenal job, and I didn't know what song it was going to be on. It ended up on this song. And then later on, I mean, you're talking maybe 2 years, a year and a half of this didgeridoo track sitting around. Stearns had done one before. We recorded a little bit, but I needed that extra. And so, I mean, me and Stearns had the basics down when we were doing it, but, this whole album is in the key of D, and Tune of Mind just nailed it, went right to the D. And so anyway, to go on top of that, we had the vocals come in, and that's Renus. He's from Central Africa, and he goes by Spirit T. He's on Spotify and stuff. Check him out. He's got a phenomenal sound, just such a unique voice, and just talk about going back to your roots. I mean, he's got it. He's got the rhythm, and just a phenomenal artist. Highly recommend checking him out. He's another guy. I was like, I've got to have this guy on here. And again, Spirit T. He went the extra mile, man. Really, just being on a budget, trying to create the best art you can. He went above and beyond again. He went over his 30 seconds. I thought, hey, just something close. He actually, you can tell he's a real artist because he followed that didgeridoo, and then he added on to it. He went over that 30 seconds, well over, and he did his singing, and he just matched it right with that didgeridoo, and man, you just know that's a talent to be able to do that. So these guys, they make the song for me. It makes it enjoyable for me to listen to because, it's not just me. That gets old just hearing yourself. I mean, it's fun, but at the same time, I'm so used to hearing my music on my own and not having that extra support or extra input or extra just little detail. And, to have 4 musicians from around the world add to what I believe is just it's a beautiful song already. I mean, that's just icing on the cake. So the recording part, I would say pretty easy, but at the same time, real fun. And those guys just added so much to this track. So to get down, well, with Renus for Spirit Tea, I also wanted to share that I had that the first part written out for him. May your dreams come true. I've always had this. As a father, you have these. At least I have these. I don't know, for your kids. It's almost like a blessing for them. And to me, that's my blessing for Hannah, for her dreams to come true. Something about it. She's gonna do something great in her life, and may her dreams come true. But also the Spirit of God living through her, and I hope that comes out. But anyway, so that's Hannah's blessing. The words Hannah, Hosanna, Waiga, don't even ask me where they came from. I don't know. I have no clue. I mean, on the back part of the album, I ran out of room, so I just put Hannah. So it's stayed like that. But Hannah, Hosanna, Waiga, yeah, don't ask me. You had to ask somebody else about that. So basically, the story behind it, this is going to be the best one, I would say, out of the whole album. Maybe the most intimate, closest one for me. I'm recording right now in the kids' room. It's supposed to be a playroom, but more and more there's more music showing up. Dennis calls this my music fun room, Scott's fun room. But anyway, and the truth is, yes, there's more pianos, organs, guitars, stringed instruments. Oh, there's a train. More and more it's becoming a music room. But anyway, in this room I'm sitting probably 6-8 feet away from where Hannah was born. And, this is a slow one here. I was trying to think back about the experience. I mean, it was 4 years ago, almost to the T. And, I wanted to share about what was going on because, it was man, I was really struggling in that season of life. And, it was a grief. I had been hit with a grief bomb, and somebody close to me died, and it just shattered, rocked my world. I don't even know how to explain it. I don't want to go into the details because there was a whole album written and the whole album came out of it, which is In Heal. And I'll go into the details with that. But let me just sum it up, man. It was like a midlife crisis and a grieving period. And it was right before COVID, because COVID came and I was like, nah, I've already been through it, man. This is nothing. Now, COVID was definitely a huge challenge for me and the family. But anyway, going through this midlife crisis and the grieving period, it just, man, it really did a number on me. And, it was it was a low time for me. I've been through some lows, and for me, it was a little different because I was more isolated, and I felt like people were telling me what to do, and I felt like nobody was really listening to me, and like people weren't understanding. I wasn't working. The Kleins, Mr. Klein and Mr. Klein, kept me busy with work, kept me going. That was a huge blessing, and they really supported me and helped me out during that difficult time. And again, it took me back to my roots in a way, and man, I just really needed that time just to process and to heal. And that's a hard thing when you have a family. And so, I was going through that, and Sarah was pregnant with our third child, Hannah, and she was carrying her. And, I just remember it was just a low point. We had gotten an argument, and I was just like, it was her fault, I wasn't being a very good husband, and I was just like, man, you need the help. And really, it was myself that needed the help, looking back. But there was a lot of hurt there, and I'm, like I mentioned before, I have the tendency to run, and man, I was ready to run then. That was you got bills to pay, and it's a scary thing, and I would say Sarah was pretty upset with me. I wasn't listening to her. I couldn't. Something in me just kind of just was broken, and that grief can do a number on you. It did for me. And anyway, that's when I was just like, I was ready to go. I mean, I remember grabbing my guitar, back in the day for early sobriety. That's what I would do on a daily basis. I would just, you don't know what to do. You don't know how to deal with life and what's going on. And, something that would always help me was taking my guitar. And I remember going over to Huron. It's a close town by, and, I was just like, where am I going to go, man? Where there's, you have those thoughts of running, like, where do I go? We have a family home here, and how do you leave your kids and your wife inside? In my head, I'm like, yes, I can't do it anymore. And I went back to the basics, and pulled out that guitar, and I just remember being over in Huron, and that song came out. It was "Thy Will Be Done," and there's something about there's going to be an angel by your side, and it helped me get through those moments. I don't like going through them, having to feel some of that, and I'm not saying things patched up with me and Sarah right away. We struggled. We had support from family, thank God. To be honest, we would not have made it financially without support from family, and more Sarah's side. So God bless them. The Lord was working through them and came through them and worked through them in a big way. And we made it through that. And but it was a rocky road, and for me to being that close to being just like, I'm done, I'm gone. And I've had some close calls in my life, some real close calls. And that's one of them. And, things did get better. At the same time, there was a distance, I would say, in our relationship, in the marriage. I would say the furthest that I've felt from Sarah ever in marriage, and that was 2019, 2020. And so we've been married 6 years. With kids, it's just that much more of a struggle. and for me. And you just, to me, it's less time together. And Sarah's very caring. She's very loving, and that attention goes with and for the kids. And that's been hard for me. But anyway, so Sarah's pregnant, and okay, due date's almost here, and it's in the morning. I think we were going to go to the hospital on Monday, but I would say maybe it was a Saturday night, early Sunday morning. Sarah is, okay, if you're going to listen to anything, this is the part to listen to. I've rambled on a lot. If you're going to listen to anything, all right, get your ears on. It's in the morning, Sunday morning, and Sarah is, we've gone through it before. I've panicked with Isaiah. Oh man, Lydia was a little better, like driving to the hospital and going through the birthing process. It's a miraculous thing, and it is so nerve-wracking. It's like a roller coaster ride, worse. So anyway, we've been through it. Sarah's, my water broke. Okay, it's 3:30 in the morning, so it's like being in shock. Like, what's happening? He's getting down. I'm thinking, okay, I'm gonna grab the bags, gonna be ready to go. And she's down here. I'm looking at the counter, and we're downstairs, and she's on the counter, and she's got her hands on that counter, and she's breathing heavy, and that always freaks me out. I mean, I don't know if that's a guy thing or what, but she's just like, and I'm thinking, wow, okay. And so she's like, I forget what word she said. She said something like, wow, are we gonna make it there? Or something. And I'm thinking, oh man, okay, all right, let's get moving. She just, yeah, okay. And so we get moving, all right, we got all the stuff, and you're just running on adrenaline, and you're just on autopilot at that point. At least I was. Okay, we go down the steps. We got 4, 5 big steps there, and we're walking to the car, and she's just like, okay, she's huffing and puffing. She opens the door. I get in the car, and I'm sitting there. She opens the door, and she's like she was by the countertop, and she's holding on. It seems like she's got one hand, the door's open, one on the door, one on the top of the car. And she's huffing and puffing, and she's going, this baby's coming. I don't know if we're going to make it to the hospital. And I forget what I said, but I'm just like, no, get in the car. We're going to get there. And for some reason, she starts walking back to the house, and I am freaking out because I'm thinking, well, what if we have the baby in the car? Because you hear like some people, they have the babies in the car and in the elevator, and I'm thinking, well, maybe the baby will come in the car or something. No. Wrong. Oh, she's heading back to the house, and there's something in my head going, this ain't right, man. It was like being in a bad dream, and I've had some bad dreams, but she's heading back to the house, so I'm going with her, and she goes up the steps. We got 4 or 5 steps, concrete, and she gets in the house. And we're in the house, 3:30 in the morning. She pulls her pants down, and there's this little head there, and I'm going, it was like seeing like an alien or something. It was just like, how do you process all that? You can't. I couldn't. It was like being in shock zone. Like, and she goes to sit down like on this chair that has rolling wheels. And for some reason, I don't know how to explain it. It was just like, there I am. And when she went to sit down, that baby just went flying out of there and right into my hands. Greatest catch of my life. Greatest catch of my life. How do you explain it? You can't. You know, and you wake up at 3:30 in the morning and you got this baby in your hands. How in the world did I catch that baby? I don't know. I was just there. How do you explain it? Was I trying to help Sarah sit in that chair? I don't know. But that baby just went like a rocket out of there. And I'm holding this baby and just, there's blood and guts and crap. And I don't know. But the first thing that went through my head for some reason was, you hear the stories where the umbilical cord is wrapped around like the baby's head or something, or the neck, and you can't breathe. And to be honest, I don't remember Hannah crying right away. I don't remember when she started crying, if it was there, but I just remember thinking, oh no, this ain't good, because the baby was so quiet. And I'm thinking, cut that umbilical cord, get that umbilical cord. And it's like a blur to me. And that is when the sheriff, Officer Reese, came in the door, and or maybe we cut the umbilical cord. Like to me, for some reason I had in my head I had to cut that umbilical cord. So we had the pizza scissors that we cut the pizza with. I'm cutting that umbilical cord. Maybe that's where some more stuff came out. Like, what is going on? And, you know, I was nursing aide for about 10 years, and so nothing can gross me out too much. And so that training, I would say, maybe was for the moment there. But Officer Reese is there, and then my parents, because I called my mom and dad because they were going to watch the other kids when we left. And so mom and dad possibly called the sheriff. I don't even remember, to be honest. And so you got Officer Reese helping out. Thank God he was there. I didn't know what was going on. You have no clue. And, you know, you got this baby, but you want to give the baby back to Sarah because that's what I've seen before. And, you know, the baby's crying now. And I don't remember how long Hannah went without crying. Seemed like maybe 30 seconds or something. But I just remember thinking, something's wrong because this baby ain't crying, man. And, you know, it was, I remember, you know, we had the baby, like my clothes were all, I had to go change my clothes because it was a mess. And I remember changing them clothes in the bathroom and just being in shock, like, what just happened? And, you know, the paramedics came, they got Sarah, and, you know, mom and dad, they didn't stick around. They went and just hung out with the kids. Thank God they were there, because they were watching Lydia, because I heard Lydia wake up. She didn't want to see that, but, you know, to me, God sent those people, sent my parents and Officer Reese, and just a beautiful thing. I'm very thankful for the support. Oh, man, I was getting emotional with these. So, let's just say this. I don't know if I could have done it on my own. And, you know, it was like, just, it was a life lesson for me because, you know, it bonded me and Sarah. Something happened after that for me. You know, I don't know what was going on with her. She probably hated my guts. But, Maybe still does. We'd have to ask her. But for me, it something happened where it bonded me and Sarah together. Something happened. How do you go through that experience and not bond with somebody? And so the life lesson for me was, just be there. Red, don't run. You're going to mess up. You're going to make mistakes. You're going to do stupid things as a husband and as a father. But just be there. You don't have to be perfect. You don't have to be Mr. Dad, and you don't have to put that image out that you are. And I feel like I don't, but, for me, that was definitely a life lesson. Just be there, no matter what you do. And, my dad's always been there for me. Why should I run away from going through a difficult time? My mom's always been there for us. My brother's always been there for me. Nicholas always been there for me. And, going through that, I just remember riding in the ambulance in the front. Sarah was in the back. Things were cool. And, it was a total shock. I just remember riding, and it's like, what just happened, man? I'm talking like 4 a.m. now, and just thank God, everybody. I just had that support, from the paramedics. Like I said before, mom and dad watching the kids, because what happened if Officer Reese wasn't there and my parents, like the kids coming down, like how do you? I don't know, but it was perfect timing, and God bless them for being there. So, I've had a lifetime of support, and man, if anybody should be grateful, it should be me. And, I need to give that back of what my parents continue to give. They've given me a lifetime of love and support, and I need to give that back. Red, great grandpa Red, he's given me a lifetime of support and love. And, it's a huge challenge, but for me, it's time to give back in a way. And so that was definitely a bonding experience, and things have never got that low again for me and Sarah now. Would I want to go through that again? Not necessarily. I would say no. It's just, if we could have done it again, I definitely would have went to the hospital. It just turned out the way it was supposed to turn out. And it's definitely a humbling experience to deliver a child. I've seen it before. And like I said, having that training as a nursing aide, you see anything and everything. Like my buddy Joe. He's like, he had a pretty rough experience, but he's like, man, I've been through so much, I could eat my lunch through that stuff. Talked about a Foley, bunch of blood and a Foley coming out. He said, I can eat my lunch during that. Oh, man. So as a nursing aide and a nurse, you see it all. And a doctor, in that profession. And I think that did help me out to go through that experience. And I would say, at the time, I don't know what was going on, but that was the experience. And we made it through. And could have been a lot different. I think of Sarah walking up those steps, like, man, could have been so different. It's just, it's scary. In a way, it's scary for me to look back and just think about that. But man, I just say, thank you, Lord, for the angels and for the help, man. And I feel like in my life, like I'm pretty gullible. I'm pretty dumb. I just kind of go with the flow usually. And I feel like God has really watched over me my entire life. And very thankful for that. So for the lyrics, the hold on, You know, hold on, my child, hold on. If you fall, I will catch you. You know, that's where that comes from. I would say that, you know, it's like I always want to be there for Hannah and all of our kids. And to me, it's like a commitment. And I think I may have went through it the hard way, but I feel like I want to be there for her. And I feel like I've been there for her before. And I remind her of that sometimes, like, hey, Hannah, I'm your dad. You know, you owe me one, man. I got you. You know, Hannah is very close with Sarah. And like this morning, she woke up and just cried. She's 4 years old. Cried for mommy. And, you know, in my teachings, I've learned to just try and support somebody, try and be there and just breathe, and not discredit the tears, but to, I forget what they call it. Sue knows what it is, where you're with somebody and you stay calm yourself and it transfers over to that person. And that's a hard thing for me, and I think for any dad. And you know, my teaching and training, that's the first place that I want to go to. I don't want to have to discredit her feelings or like change her mind or something. You know, she's 4 years old, and you know, that was first go-to. But how much crying can a man take? I mean, I don't know, I have my limits. So after a time, it was like, okay, Hannah, all this crying's not gonna, you know, help mommy come back, because she's at school and she's working, and she took, you know, brother and sissy. So, you know, let's do something different, or try and distract her. And I felt like, you know, I'd given her that time to cry, but at the same time, it's like, I forget the wording I used, something about crying. You know, crying's not going to bring her back. And I thought, well, maybe I shouldn't have said that, because, you know, I don't want her bottling things up. I guess I don't want her like being like me, like not able to express yourself. And so, you know, maybe it was 50-50 there, and gave her a little bit of time to cry, but at the same time, you know, how much do you cry? I don't know. So anyway, the other lyrics on here, like a baby bird who just heard the voice of its mother for the first time. Sweetest sound she ever heard. In a moment, she's ready for flight. You know, I would say that, I don't know, maybe that's more of a testament to her relationship with mom. You know, I hope it stays like that, but I hope she opens up to me as well. You know, I don't know if Hannah's got some stuff from when, you know, she was in Sarah's belly there, like before she was hatched. You know, because I'm sure Sarah had some hard feelings towards me, and I get it 100%, man. And I would say, yeah, that is my part. That is my fault. And I feel like I have something to prove to Hannah, or something special to give back to her. I love her relationship with mom. At the same time, it's hard for me because I want to be there. And I would say that, you know, me not working as much, whether in whatever field, social work or counseling or whatever, it's given me time to be with Hannah. And man, I would say that we have been bonding, because I do get to see her a couple times out of the week, and you know, I feel like we've needed that. And you know, that's been a beautiful thing that I did not see coming. And sometimes being with Hannah, sometimes I get more work done, more creative writing done, but able to be there with her at the same time. So anyway, it's a balance for me. And you know, it's a beautiful thing to have some support. So I'm very thankful for Sarah. She's such a caring person, and she's a wonderful mother. She gives and gives and gives. And we're at a season where, I'm seeing from home how much work she does with everything at home. Like even fixing stuff up, dishes, cooking, laundry. You have, as a man, I've had no clue. She's just have always done that stuff, balancing checkbooks and money and all that stuff. And it's a whole nother world for me, and I need to do more. And that's our motto now. Creating this man quest. It's like we need to do more, and mom needs to do less. And that's been a motto of our home. It's very hard to live, but at the same time, we're taking baby steps towards that way. So, but anyway, a shout out to Sarah for all her hard work, and all moms for all the work they do. Just the super moms. Every mom is a super mom because you go through so much, and if it wasn't for Sarah, we would not be making it now. She's doing a great job of working, doing piano lessons, picking up some extra work. I'm very thankful for her efforts. And, it's time for me to pick it up as the man of the house. It's a whole nother ballgame, scrubbing the laundry and stuff, learning how to do that. Once I get it down, I want to do a YouTube video on how to actually do laundry, because I would do it now, but I'm still trying to figure it out. Like Sarah was trying to explain, is it the whites or the lights? I don't know. But anyway, making progress. All right. Well, I got a little bit of scripture for you. Let's take a little break. And then we'll... I did want to put in maybe just sometimes I record my ideas just so I can record them right away. I'd like to throw something in there as extra, and I'd like to also throw that song in, Thy Will Be Done, time and time again, just because it just goes along with it, with that song that came out in Huron. In case somebody's going through a low point, that song really ministered to me, and it was a very low point for me, and it helped me out. But anyway, I'll try and put that in there. For some of these notes, I thought I was putting it in the right place where you can see something where you can click on it to go to it, like certain lyrics and stuff. But for some reason, it's not pulling up for me when I'm on there. So it's like, why am I typing all this stuff in there? It's disappointing. I know I can ramble on these, and before it was a big thing for me because there was always a time thing. But for this, I'm not worried about it, to be honest, because this is more for somebody that really wants to go into a deep dive of what the song's about. And for some people, I may be helping them fall asleep. Forget about a sleep doctor, man. You just listen to Red. No, I know I can ramble, but it's fun for me. I show up. I don't have a whole lot of notes. Like today, I just go with it, and that's the best part for me. You just do it your way. So again, like I said earlier, man, I'm just very thankful for this time today to be able to sit down and express that side of me. And okay, let's take a break, and we'll come back with some scripture for you. Okay, well, welcome back. We got some scripture today. I would say, man, last night was diving into the Word. There's just something where it is. There's I don't know what it is, a hunger or a love, where you're just like, man. Even yesterday at we had a Bible study, but we also do sing in the choir. And man, time was up, and I'm just like, oh man, I wish I could just stay here, man. I feel like I'm gonna miss out on something. And even last night, just going to bed, it's like, man, I just want some more Word, man. And so there's been a hunger there, and maybe that's part of this creative time. Maybe it's been a healing time for me. I would say it's been there for a bit, but anyway, just reading about last night, it was in Matthew. There's a lot of parables and just a lot of things about Jesus coming back. And, just kind of seeing this morning, I've got, like I said, I've got mini Bibles. I've got mini Bibles. I've got Bibles that are real thick, study Bibles. And actually, there was this men's thing that I went to on the weekend, and there was this study Bible, and it was half off in all the books, and I'm thinking, why didn't I get that, man? I should have got that one study Bible, but there's plenty. There's plenty to go around. But anyway, I picked up this one. This is Amplified, and it comes from Thessalonians, First Thessalonians, chapter 1, verse 3. Well, I guess we could read a little bit before it. Let's go 2, then we'll go into 3. It says in verse 2, we are ever giving thanks to God for all of you, continually mention you when engaged in our prayers. Verse 3, recalling unceasingly before our God and Father your work energized by faith, in service motivated by love, and unwavering hope in the return of our Lord Jesus Christ, the Messiah. And then let's just read 4, just to read it. Oh, brethren, brothers, beloved by God, we recognize and know that He has chosen you, selected/chosen you. And I would just really like to share about Jesus coming back, man. Like, I've read a lot of the scriptures, and it's a repeated theme. There's a lot of themes in there, but something that I've seen a lot is Jesus coming back, man. If you're a follower, don't lose that fire, or you get in the hustle and bustle of life where you just get so busy. I do. And you forget about your eternal home and where you really belong. And, when I gave my heart to the Lord Jesus years ago, there's many different ways that I've done that, but officially at a mountain retreat in Colorado, it was a scary experience for me, because I mentioned this before. I believe it's more in the course, but you don't. In a way, you have to experience it first before you can really trust that God is going to take care of you, and that God really loves you. Like for me, I've never been a follower. I've struggled with just following along, doing what the group does. I've never enjoyed doing that. I don't know why. Maybe I was born that way. I don't know. But it's always been a challenge for me to live the spiritual life and to trust. And I would love to encourage anybody, if you've never trusted Christ for your Savior, it's not all hokey pokey stuff, man. It's the real deal. It's the living God. And my experience is very slowly. It's like taking steps. The Lord was very patient with me, and it's one of the best things you can ever do. And I would love to encourage anybody that's given their heart to the Lord, man, just a reminder, the Lord will be coming back. This world's a mess. Everybody knows that. And, it's, man, it's going to be a day. If you've surrendered your heart and your life and you put your trust in Christ, Jesus he's died, he's suffered on that cross, he's taken the sin of everybody, and he rose again, destroying death. If you have that belief, man, your home is in heaven, and one day you will see and walk with the Lord and be with the loved ones who have put their trust in him. So anyway, just a little reminder, the Lord will be coming back. Be busy doing his work. Be busy being with him. There's, like I read last night in Matthew, I don't remember where, but it talked about Jesus, and he was talking about this parable, and he said, there was the 12 virgins and the oil. They took the lamps out, but some of them forgot oil. And, they came back and I know I'm messing this up, but the ones who brought the oil, the master said, come on in, man, we're ready for you. But the other ones had to go back to get the oil. And then when they came back, man, they knocked on the door, and it was just like, oh, I just kind of cringed when I hear this, but it was like, the master says, I didn't know you. I never knew you. And so, oh, man, to me, that just does something inside my soul. Like, oh, that's worst case scenario. So my encouragement, man, spend some time with the Lord. Let him get to know you, man. Take some time. Share just a little bit of your time, 5 minutes on your ride home from work. Take 5 minutes, stop by a park, the lake, anywhere. Lord, please be with me, or bust out that scripture, and God will be with you, man. He's the living God. But anyway, he's coming back, man. He's coming back. So don't get too busy with this world, Be responsible, be yourself, but at the same time, man, don't be like those ones that left the oil behind and then showed up late. Like, hello. Not cool. But anyway, all right, God bless. Thanks for listening, and let's see what's coming up. Oh, working on a new Christian course for any new Christian. It's going to be 30 days of support. Oh man, it's going to be loaded, but also working on that Man Quest coming up for Father's Day. So anyway, that's what's going on here, taking a day at a time. And Lord bless you. Thanks for sticking around, and hope you've been encouraged today. And God bless.
Hey.